Kendrick Lamar uses his Super Bowl halftime show to settle a vendetta. That's by John Caramanica. He's the pop music critic at the New York Times. I just finished reading his piece. I think it's a whiff. Maybe you could tell by my tone. I don't actually want to talk about that, though, or the halftime show. I really just want to talk about the diss tracks, so Euphoria and Not Like Us, and the way I think this article is framing them and diss tracks generally. These songs are indeed about Drake. They are about Drake the individual and Drake's position within hip-hop. But the idea that all possible interpretations, quests for meaning, or potential readings must cease there, the impossible to ignore implication Caramanica makes that a diss track is inherently shallow, that its scope must be limited to its stated target, is a pedestrian and misguided way to talk about any kind of music. And it doesn't escape my notice that the music we're usually talking about that way is hip-hop. I'm not a music critic, but I am a lover of music and lyrics specifically, and I have found that the good songs across all genres are very often, usually about multiple things at the same time. I actually heard Jason Isbell say that when I saw him live a couple years ago. He's an incredible country music songwriter. And he talked about learning that good songs are about two things at once from Eric Clapton. And Tears in Heaven is very famously about the tragic death of Clapton's young son, but if readings were limited to that specific literal event, it would not be as enduring a song as it is. Anyway, when I saw Jason Isbell, he talked about how his song Live Oak is about two things at once. I like talking about this alongside Kendrick Lamar's work because hip-hop and country music are cousins. And much like the diss track is a hip-hop framework, the murder ballad is a country music framework. Live Oak by Jason Isbell is a linear story. It recounts a fictional sequence of events. When Isbell sings, I carved her cross from live oak in her box from shortleaf pine and buried her so deep she touched the water table line, he's being literal in the telling of the song. It's a murder ballad. But he's also speaking metaphorically about burying his emotional connection with this woman and turning his back on the inherent vulnerability of loving someone outside yourself. You see, two things at once. So, is it possible for diss tracks to accomplish the same thing? I make music that electrify them, you make music that pacify them? I don't know, New York Times music critics. You tell me.